Boon, 3, 2, 1, start.
Good morning, all, and good luck to my opponent. Capital punishment. Is it a boon or a bane? Well, capital punishment is definitely the need of the hour. Why is capital punishment necessary? To understand this, we have to first understand what is law and what is punishment. Now, law is a set of instructions that people have to follow. If they don't follow it, then they get a fine or they get penalized basically. Now, if these set of penalties were not there, then people would not follow these instructions, right? Now, law is merely a set of instructions without the sanction. So that sanction part of it gives the law its rigidness or its superiority. Now, what capital punishment does is it reaffirms the belief of law amidst the society. Now, capital punishment is the highest order of punishment that there can be. Death is the most severe form of deterrence there is, right? So there are three parts of which capital punishment affects the society. First one is deterrence. Second one is establishing the supremacy of law. And third one is sense of justice. Moving on to my first point, deterrence. Now, so capital punishment is the most deterring factor in all societies. Now, like I said, death is the most crucial deterrent or most heavy deterrent. Like a person values his own life more than anything else. Now, in the society, there are different kinds of people, right? There are people who would never commit a rape because rape or murders, grievous murders, these are something that are these are something that's inhumane. It's not possible for a human being with morals, ethics to do something like this. It's monstrous. These are unnatural acts. Now, a sane person wouldn't do this. So in the society, there are majority of people who wouldn't commit a rape, irrespective of the punishment. But there is a significant section of the society who would commit the rape. Now, in that small portion of the society, there is another small portion which would commit the rape or which would commit such crimes irrespective of what the penalty is. These people are monsters. These people are psychopaths. They are rebels. They are deviants. They just want to do it. We can't stop these people, but with death penalty, what we can do is there is in that section, whatever the remaining percent is, those people they might or might not commit rape depending on the severity of crime. Now, if I'm allowed to quote statistics, in Goa after 2017, when fines were increased from 100 rupees to 250 rupees for helmet, the challan rates went down by 17%. Now, this is just an example to show that how severe penalties can decrease the crime or how it affects the person in an ordinary society. So with severe punishments, it does serve a deterrence to what the criminal might do or potential criminal might do. So if we can avoid rapes by giving death penalty, then it is the way to go. Now people would say that you must have human rights for criminals and death penalty is infringing its human's right. But you tell me if a person who's lost his humility, who's who's acting inhumane, does he deserve human rights? Moving on to my second point, it reinstates the supremacy of law in the society. Uh, Now, this supremacy of law is also equivalent to my third point, justice, a sense of justice. Now, rape is not just a crime. Rape is not just a crime against the society. It's not just a crime against the victim. It's also a crime against the rem, the society. It does not just affect the culprit, it affects their family, the whole society at large, like we have seen in Nirbhaya case. So what another article that I like to quote from Economic Times is 90% of state in 2019 in a survey wanted to retain capital punishment and bring it. This shows that society in general want death punishment because it serves as a purpose of justice. Now, how much time do I have left?
Yeah, a minute.
Yeah. So I'd like to end by saying that capital
You just
punishment.
have 10 seconds left.
Capital punishment is like a sword. It is sharp, but it is necessary to bring justice when it is required. You can't fight wars with pens.
Okay, thank you. Team 02. Okay, we'll begin with the opposition now. 16B. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Okay, so you'll speak for 7 minutes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, start.
As a punishment, a death penalty makes no sense. For example, someone killing a person who has killed a person make no sense. And also, I believe that life should be preserved unless there is a good reason. Because, and also my worthy opponents, it should. Shall I start again? There is some problem. Hello.
Yeah, continue.
Hello. Am I audible?
You're audible.
Okay. Thank you. There are concern. I will start from the beginning. There are consensus among the social scientists, and also the data shows that the deterrence of death penalty is yet to be unproven. In 1981, a survey was conducted for the United Nations. It states that the results did not provide any scientific proof that execution provide any deterrence to the as compared to life imprisonment. Also, when my next point is that sorry, shall I start once again from the beginning?
Yeah, continue, participant.
Hello?
Your time will be counted from here only because you already restarted.
Okay. Also, Mahatma Gandhi did not believe in capital punishment because of its irreversibility. As he said, an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. Because even innocent people can be punished, and if they are executed, there is no chance for reversibility. And my next point is the unevenly manner in which the death sentence are announced. For example, if we take the data from National Crime Records Bureau, from 2004 to 2013, around 1,303 death sentences were announced, of which only 3 convicts were executed, and also 3,751 life sentences were commuted to life imprisonment. We can just understand the mental trauma of a person, who knows that he's going to be hanged within some period, and then he is told that no, he's been commuted to life imprisonment, which is not fair. My next also from 2000 and 2000, between 2000 to 2050, Supreme Court imposed 60 death penalties, of which they subsequently admitted that they had committed 15% 15 of the cases were arbitrarily. It has been told by themselves. Again, retribution is also one of considered as one of the reason for capital punishment. But I don't think death penalty would be an equal retribution, because life imprisonment which will life imprisonment without any system of parole, which serve more purpose than death penalty. And the general then death penalty. My next point is many times government try to kill prisoners just to show that they are strict on crime, but this is not the solution. They just celebrate their this execution, and then whole atmosphere is created, and after that, after some time, everyone just forgets everything. The most important argument against capital punishment is that more or less it will kill the innocent people because of the flaws and mistake in the judicial system. And also judges as well as the prosecutor are humans. Even they make mistakes. When these mistakes are coupled with the mistakes of judiciary, it is evidently that the innocent will be suffered from it. And where there are capital punishment, it is mostly impossible to do to reverse it. And my next point, I will say that uh, it is it the constitutionality of the death penalty should be revised, because as the Constitution of India is an organic and compassionate document which recognizes the sanctity of flexibility of law. However, the However, the constitutionality of the death penalty will be asked or will be questioned in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will surely have to answer that is the political ill will sufficient to deconstitutionalize the death penalty. Also, I would say that that's it. My opponent just mentioned 3 points, that is deterrence, justice, supremacy law, and he quoted an example of Goa. We cannot compare challans with death penalty, and that is I don't say that is an equal comparison. Next is deterrence. Data shows that from 2017, 18, 19, in the cases of sexual assault, the cases against women has been increased. Second, justice. When you talk about justice, justice does not mean revenge. It means it should become a reform, or it should make and reform in the society. Next, he said my opponent said that it is a sword. I would say that it is a double-sided sword, so we must handle it very efficiently. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, 16B. Now we'll again go to our the speaker speaking for the motion. You'll get 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Can I start?
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, start.
Firstly, I'd like to address that India has one of the best judicial systems, and we believe that every person is innocent until he's proven guilty, and hence we do not try anyone arbitrarily. I believe in the judiciary, and I urge you to have more faith in this judicial system. Now, Constitution of India does recognize capital punishment to be constitutional, and in fact, it is said that hanging is the most dignified manner of serving a death penalty other than euthanasia. Now, third point is, you said that it would, you quoted data from 1981. Now, this data is from 1981. Now, from 1981, the population increases. So, obviously, the percent, like the amount of crimes will also increase. If there are 100 people and there are 10 criminals, when it increases to 1,000 people, the crime will increase from 10 to 30 at least, right? The number will increase. You have to see the percentage of it. And the data I quoted for challans, in the end, it is a crime, right? I'm comparing crime with a crime. So it is a just comparison. Now, what we also do is we spend around 16, Tihar jail alone spends around 16 crore per year to maintain the jail for these life imprisonment convicts. If we execute death penalty, we can save that money per year, and we can actually use that money to give therapy to the victim if she or he is surviving, or to their family members. This would not only give justice, this would also bring in rehabilitation. And you did not raise the point of rehabilitation of the convict, but I believe that rehabilitation of a person who's committed a rape or murder, now the rehabilitation will only bring him back to the stage where he was before he committed rape or murder. So what is the guarantee that he will not do it again? Now I have a case from America. In 2018, there was a man named Flick.
Okay, thank you so much, participants. We are done with your debate. You'll updated about the instructions later. Thank you so much.
So judges, can we remove them from the meeting if you're done scoring them?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll just leave, no?
Yeah, you can leave.
Manasvi,
Yes.
can you just in brief again, as this was the first team, can you just briefly tell about how we shall write the scores in the sheet and email it to you again? Can you please elaborate on that? Do you know about it, Shweta ma'am? You are aware of it, na?
I am aware of it, but I have few questions from you because
Sure.
we should discuss. what should be minimum and maximum marks, because there must not be disparity a lot,
Correct,
isn't
correct,
it?
correct, correct. That's what.
If we, out of 30, can we give them between 15 to 30? Because it should not be like that, that whatever you are giving and I am giving, that must not tally.
Correct,
A
correct,
little
correct.
is okay, but some minimum or maximum, that must be decided. Am I right,
True.
Manasvi? So
Yes,
that they
ma'am.
must not be.
Ma'am, I really don't know about that smaller things, but Asta, could you just connect to the organization?
I mean, we should have consensus between both of us.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, ma'am. I'm
but
understanding your point.
and one more thing, like 16B, there was no role in rebuttal round, right? So how
True.
to give him marks? First, I agree that I have given 2A. He spoke for rebuttal, but if I take another one, he didn't speak anything. So out of 30, how can I allot marks to him? I
Ma'am, like
hope you have
for
got
the second speaker, we have 5+2. That is, he'll speak in the entire speech. He'll do rebuttal as well. Yeah, yeah.
completely right. But what about his marks in rebuttal round? Because there was no
Because he, no,
role.
no, ma'am, Shweta ma'am, he has got the first against motion or in the favor of the motion. So he has got one student before him. So only for his arguments, he is giving rebuttal.
Fine, absolutely. So equal marks, or we should try to get it out of 7 minutes only.
7 minutes.
I'm at, okay. Thank you.
So
Yes,
first,
ma'am.
for the first participants, it's 5+2. Rebuttal
Yes,
will
yes,
be after the second
yes.
one, and
Yeah.
for the second one, it's 7.
Yeah, yeah,
I
ma'am.
got
That
the
is including rebuttal.
giving marks. I was confused because for giving marks, if I consider last 2 minutes as rebuttal round, the next person or B did not speak at all. So how can I give him marks out of 20? That was my question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm getting it. Asta, are you here? Hello, Asta.
Because before the second team comes, we need to send this email, right?
Ma'am, I've just asked and they're telling us. So can you please wait for a second and I'll let you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Once it is clear, then we can go without interruption further.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, sure.
Ma'am, I just got word from the organizing committee. They're saying that you can score as you like. There's no minimum or maximum marks. You can give them even full marks if you wish. And you can score them even lower if you want. Matlab, if you want them, if you want to give them 10 marks, you can give that. If you want to give them 5 marks, you can do that. It's totally up to you. It's your discretion. Zero bhi de sakte hain. You can give them zero as well if you feel like
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
So, ma'am, should we begin with the next debate?
Can you just wait for a minute, please?
Yeah, 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 ma'am. Sure.
I think team 7B isn't here. Oh, 2B. Yeah, he is here. Wait.
Asta, the next participants were 9A and 5B, na?
Manasvi,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
I'm
second.
with them.
Yeah,
Manasvi,
yes,
just
ma'am.
a second. I'm giving, Shweta ma'am, I'm giving a call to you, video call. Can you just answer it, please?
Yes, yes. I thought someone else is there, so I should not get it. Fine, fine. Yes, sir.
So the participant 5B isn't here. We'll wait for a minute or two because it's already 5 minutes above our time. And if he's not here, then we'll have to disqualify him.
Manasvi, we can start.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
okay, Manasvi, you can go ahead. Ma'am, one of the participants isn't here. So, and we've already been waiting for so long. If they don't come in within the next minute, then we'll have to disqualify them and then we'll have to. Then we'll have to proceed with the next team if they don't come.
Okay.
Judges plus, please, we have been asked to told you that please email the scores immediately after every round of debate.
Just give us 2 minutes. Okay, this is
Yeah,
start
yeah, ma'am.
consideration.
Yes, sure.
I'm doing the same. Just 2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sure.
You can start with the next team if the person comes. I'll send in between.
May I start?
Wait a minute. Actually, the other, like, the opponent isn't here and we are sorting out. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Hello, am I audible now? Ma'am, we can ask the participant who is present to proceed. The other one will be disqualified. Okay, was it 3A? No, na?
It's 5B, 5B, 3A.
No, he isn't here. That person will be disqualified. So the person who's here, 16B if I'm not wrong, they'll proceed. And you'll be marking them accordingly, and she'll be marked on a solo basis.
Okay, so Asta just a question. She'll speak for 5 minutes, right? Like, because what would she rebuttal on?
If she's going for 4, then she'll speak for 5 minutes. Yeah, let
Asta, you aren't audible.
yeah, let her speak for 5 minutes because either way there's no rebuttal.
Yeah.
So let her speak for 5 minutes.
Okay, so participant 9A.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you will speak for 5 minutes and I'll show you a start plug card and you'll start. And when there's 1 minute left, I'll show you this way. 1 minute left for a plug card, then you have to wrap it up. And at the 5th minute, I'll show you stop plug card and you have to stop. Is it clear?
Yes. So could you please give me a 3 to 1 countdown, like?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Yes. Just a minute. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning to one and all present here. I'll be speaking for the motion that capital punishment is a boon. I'll start off by defining the most important term of this debate, that is capital punishment. So capital punishment, also called death penalty, means execution of an offender sentenced to death after conviction by a court of law. It is the most severe form of punishment. It is the punishment which is awarded to offenders who commit the most heinous, grievous, and detestable crimes against humanity. I'd like to draw your attention to the last 3 adjectives that I used because it's really important for this debate to remember that we're not concerned with petty offenses, but with offenses which shake the foundation of humanity. So the burden of proof on my end is to establish that the mere existence, the availability of the option of capital punishment is really beneficial for the society and would ensure well-being of its people. I'll do so by doing a stakeholders analysis. There are 3 main stakeholders of this debate, and all of them are better off in my paradigm. The first stakeholder is the person who has committed the offense. So we have to keep in mind that we are not dealing with regular offenses, but offenses which are of very horrible and heinous nature. Let's assume that that person has been sentenced to maybe 20 to 30 years in prison, and then he is released back into the society. It can be very well expected that he would be ousted from the society and would be living a life which is at par with death. In the second scenario, let's assume that that person has been sentenced to life imprisonment. In this scenario, that person which has been sentenced to life imprisonment, if he has a conscience, then every day he would be living in guilt, misery, and pain, which again is like dying every day. In the third scenario, that person doesn't have any conscience at all. In this scenario, isn't it quite questionable whether that person should even have the right to live? Because he's already detached himself from all the humane values of mankind. So it can be concluded that the person who's committing the offense himself is better off in the paradigm that believes that capital punishment is a boon. The second stakeholder is the society. We have to keep in mind that we're not living in a state of nature where everybody is equal and one can extend their liberty to the point of encroaching upon the liberty of others. We are living in a civilized society, and as rightly pointed out by John Rawls, that justice is when equal rights are extended to the most extensive liberty which is compatible to the similar liberty of others. So if one person is depriving the other of their right to life, dignity, and liberty, then that person should be punished at par with what he's depriving the other person of. If we do not do so, then what kind of message are we relaying to the society? What kind of message are we relaying to the victim? If the victim dies, what kind of message are we relaying to their family that a beloved person has died and the person who perpetrated the crime, that person is living? So to ensure that right to life, liberty is guaranteed in the society, capital punishment must exist. The third stakeholder is the government. Apart from providing rights to its people, government also has a duty to maintain law and order. We have to acknowledge that capital punishment is a strong force of deterrence. Another argument is that capital punishment is the most just form of retribution. By justice, I mean fairness, impartiality to give one its due. Let's assume that one person has committed murder and the other person has not just committed murder, but also rape and torture. Is it fair to judge both of them on the same scale? What is the worst that can happen to them? Life imprisonment? Is it fair? There must be availability of the option of capital punishment so that we can punish the people who are committing the most gravest of offenses. Would it be fair to judge them on the same scale? We have to keep in mind that it's not surprising that human beings are capable of doing the most evil of things. We have many examples in the recent past. Take the example of Jeffrey Dahmer in the United States, the example of Delhi gang rape case in India, the example of Junko Furuta in Japan. In a world where capital punishment doesn't exist, one person would think that, okay, I'm going to commit murder, I might as well commit rape and torture as well, because what's the worst that can happen to me? Life imprisonment. Another thing that we have to keep in mind is that capital punishment is the most painless and at the same time the most severe form of punishment. Because even if we take into the perspective that these offenders have rights, that they're sentient beings, we also have to keep in mind that instead of sentencing them to say life imprisonment or solitary confinement, they live in pain and misery for a prolonged period of time as compared to capital punishment where they'll die in an instant, which is a better of deal for those people, and at the same time it is the most severe form of punishment, so the victim also benefits from it. So it is pretty much a win-win deal for both the parties. At last, I'd like to conclude by saying that capital punishment is indeed a boon for the society. There must be existence of the option of capital punishment so that we can ensure the welfare of its people. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Naine. We are done with your debate. You will be updated about the instructions later on, so you could leave the room now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Manashwi, did you receive the mail?
Same here from my side.
Manashwi?
Ma'am, actually, on which email ID did you send the mail? Because
It's
I don't.
I think yesterday it was shared in the group.
yeah.
Yes.
I'll tell you the email ID. It's DESSNFLCDE debate the DEBATE 2019@gmail.com.
Ma'am, that's our college email ID. They must have received the email.
Okay.
I just wanted to confirm, is it okay or do you need some changes from our side? So accordingly, I must forward next one.
Same here.
Okay, ma'am, I'll let you know. Meanwhile, the other participants are already here. So, with your permission, if we could begin with that, I'll let you know in the end before you mark.
So
them.
shall we send one more email for this single participant again?
Yeah, you could do that. I'll let you know before you mark these participants, but you can send for the single participant. You can send the marks for the single participant. Yeah.
Okay. So are the team 3A and 7B here?
Yes, I'm 3 and I'm here.
7B, are you?
Excuse me, ma'am. Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Ma'am, actually, I can see a black screen. I cannot see anything. Can I rejoin again?
Yeah, do it.
You may.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I just wanted to confirm if we are allowed to keep a blank page with us, because we'll need to, note down the opposite party's arguments for preparing rebuttals.
Asta, that is allowed, right?
Yeah, we allowed that with the first participant, no?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but you're not.
Make sure that it's blank.
Yeah,
Make
I
sure
can
that you
just
don't.
view.
Yeah, don't read from your paper,
Yeah.
and just that will be fine.
Yeah, it's just that I'm using a blank
Yeah,
paper
yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, so 7B, you are here with us, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so 3A, you will be speaking for the motion. The motion remains the same, capital punishment, a Bane or Boon. And 7B, you'll be speaking against the motion. 3A, you'll be speaking for 5 minutes. I'll show a placard like this at the start of the debate. And at the 4th minute, I'll tell you that it's 1 minute left. And at the end, I'll tell you it's over and you need to stop then. And the person speaking against the motion, that is 7B, you'll be speaking for 7 minutes, including the rebuttal as well. And the placards thing goes the same way. And then again, the 3A, you'll be speaking for 2 minutes. That is the rebuttal section. And I'll show you start and stop placard. There won't be any 1 minute left placard then. Am I clear with the instructions?
Yes, you're perfectly clear.
Okay, judges, may I have your permission to start the debate?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, participants, all the very best. Are we good to go?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
3A, turn on your camera. We'll begin in.
Just give me 10 seconds. If am I audible loud and clear?
Yeah, yes, perfectly.
Okay, because I can't see myself. Okay, if I'm audible loud and clear, then would you start the timer after I give you a countdown?
Okay, yeah, okay, sure.
Okay. Then in 3, 2, 1, start. Okay, so a very good morning to everyone present here. I am the speaker of team 3A and I'll be speaking for the motion. And as the speaker for the motion, it is pertinent that my obligation lies in elucidating upon the fact as to how capital punishment as a mechanism is not just an option but is a necessity when it comes to criminal justice, owing to its positive aspects, which makes it a boon rather than a bane, right? And how I'd approach with my arguments is by way of providing assertions, which I'll thoroughly explain with proper reasoning and as well as examples. So now that I've characterized the motion, let us briefly discuss what capital punishment is. So the lamest definition won't work here, right? So technically speaking, dealing with the Indian perspective per se, the Criminal Procedure Code in exactly section 354 clause 5, if I'm not wrong, says that when a person is sentenced to death or capital punishment, he or she would be hanged till death. The same can also be done in other acts like Narcotics Act or Army and Air Force Act, particularly in Army and Air Force Act, where they are shooted in the head to death, right? Shot in the head, I'm very sorry. So okay, so now that I've characterized as well as introduced the thing, I'll move on to my arguments. But before presenting arguments, I'd like to mention something, that it should be noted that the state provides punishment with some aims, isn't it? Now, which are deterrence, retribution, reformation, vindication, reparation, protection of society, etc. Now, I would prove with my arguments that in some cases, capital punishment is the best way to achieve some of these goals, and in some other cases, capital punishment is the only alternative, or rather is a necessity to achieve these goals, and hence making it a boon. So with I'll proceed with my first argument, that is first goal, that is achieving deterrence. First argument is that capital punishment helps in achieving the deterrent goal of punishment, that is, it deters people from committing the crime again, right? So I'll mention one example. I'm really sorry for the background noise. In 1973, Professor Isaac Enrich employed a new kind of analysis which produced results showing that for every inmate who executed, 7 lives were spared because others were deterred from committing murder. Now, similar results have been produced in decades after that, even in the 35th Law Commission report. Right. So even if some studies even if some studies regarding deterrence are inconclusive, that is only because of the fact that death penalty is rarely used and that it takes years before an execution is actually carried out. So even though statistical demonstrations are not conclusive, capital punishment is likely to deter more than other punishments because people do fear death like anything else. And this fear of death as a deterrent has been clearly accepted in Jagmohan Singh and Machi Singh case, because obviously whatever people fear the most is likely to deter the act most, isn't it? And surely death penalty is the only penalty that could deter prisoners already who are serving life sentence and tempted to kill some guards or some other inmates. This could deter the same. So this is how I clearly prove that how threat of the death penalty may deter some heinous offenses which otherwise might not have been deterred, hence achieving the deterrent goal. My next argument is that of retribution. So retribution denotes proportional punishment to the perpetrator for what they've committed. It is not revenge, but I won't delve into that aspect now. Now, in some cases, the cases are so heinous in nature, so large scale in nature, just like the 2611 attacks, that proportionality of punishment cannot be achieved. So the only way is to provide them with death penalty, right? Because of the large scale of act that has been committed. The same example of which was hanging of Ajmal Kasab in 2611 case. The next argument is of rehabilitation, that capital punishment ends up in rehabilitation in some cases. Now, it might sound a bit weird, but I'll explain it to you. We already know about the 5 types of pardoning powers of the president.
1 minute
Now,
left.
okay, so in cases of death penalty, such can happen in cases that the fear of death leads to the convicts in realization of fault and repentance, and just like we and also can lead them to leading a spiritual life in prisons. Like in the Nirbhaya case, we see one of the perpetrators realize his mistake. So in such instances, if the president pardons the punishment, the convict could undoubtedly be said to have been rehabilitated, right? So my final argument is that death penalty reinforces people's belief in society by achieving the goal of protection. What does protection indicate? Protection says that saving society from getting their social fabric shattered, that crime does. Now, in some instances, the act committed, like in Nirbhaya case or Priyanka Reddy case, is so heinous and barbaric in nature that it comes upon the justice delivery system to restore the faith and conscience of society, right? So the same can be done only if death penalty is awarded, because I'll just take 10 seconds to conclude. And the same has been upheld in many cases like Jagmohan Singh, Bachchan Singh, Machi Singh, that I've already mentioned. So with these cases, I've proved how capital punishment as a mechanism is not just an option, but is a necessity when it comes to criminal justice, owing to its positive aspects, and hence is bound to be called a boon. And I'm really sorry for the extra time that I took, but thank you so much for listening to this.
Thank you, 3A. Now, do we have 7B?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, just a second, Manasvi, just a second. Judges, I got word from the committee. Your format is perfect. You don't need to change anything. Thank you.
Okay. Can we begin, Asta?
Yeah.
Okay, so 7B, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so at 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, everyone.
Manashwi, excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting, but I can see 2 7Bs in this meeting. There are 2 7Bs in the meeting.
No, I can only see 7B and 3A as attendees, and
There are only 2 people. As for the participants, 7B and 3A, there's no second 7B. I'm sorry.
Okay, I have kicked out the other one. Thank you, Asta and Manashwi.
okay,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, so we'll restart again, 7B. Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm 7B and I will be against the motion that I think that capital punishment should be abolished or it is a bane for our country. An eye for an eye will make whole world blind. This is the sentence given by Mahatma Gandhi. And according to this, we can remind ourselves that we belong to a nation in which after so many years of suffering, so much of destruction, then too we have chosen non-violence over violence. And today in our nation where we are keeping the peace as our motto, where we are trying to be ethically and morally very much correct with our constitution, we are using a form of violence in means a capital punishment as form of violence against our own people. When talking about capital punishment, we can say it is a legal way to take away someone's life to give the victim its satisfaction, or we can say a proper way of giving justice to the victim. But is it so? Taking someone's life, is it a legal way? According, as we can say, that deterrence is the most means it is the argument which is every time seen according to the capital punishment. But according to the National Crime Bureau's report, the crimes against the women in 2016 were 3.37 lakh. In 2017, they were 3.38 lakh. In 2018, they were 3.79 lakh. These are the numbers related to only the crimes against the women. But what about the other crimes? They are also increasing at the same rates in our society or in our country. The countries who have actually abolished, almost 93 or 90 countries have abolished the capital punishment, and the rates of the crime in those countries are actually less as compared to ours. So is deterrence actually working as the means real way why we are giving the capital punishment? Our legal system, it works on a very beautiful, I can say, a very ethical and a moral principle that let 100 criminals, let them set free, but not a single innocent it would be punished, or it should not be punished for a wrong reason. But there was a case in Santosh Barrier versus State of Maharashtra, in which Supreme Court itself told that the 13 cases of death penalties which they have told before, they were wrong, or they were based on incurium, or we can say they were based on in ignorance of the law. Until Supreme Court realized this, 2 of the people were already executed. From 1 January 2000 to 1 January 2015, 60 death penalties were imposed. And again, Supreme Court itself argued, or they realized that 25% or the 15 of the cases were actually wrong. We live in a country, or our country is like we give the legal free trial to the people. And the giving or retaining the capital punishment, it sounds like we are actually death nailing the working of our Indian constitution. When we say that we give the capital punishment to the rarest of the rare cases, we don't give it to everyone. But who decides the case is rarest of the rare? Of course, our judges. But they are also humans. Sometimes they can also make mistakes. Sometimes they can also get emotional, or sometimes they can also be biased. In 1999, there was a case of Mahinder Singh who had raped his own daughter. He was given a 12-year imprisonment, and after that, when he was set on parole in 2005, he went and he killed his own wife and the daughter he had raped earlier. The trial court granted him the death penalty. High Court also said that this was the correct decision by the trial court. But the bench of 2 judges in Supreme Court, it was in 2013, Justice Satsivam and Justice Fakir Khalifullah, they ruled that this is not the rarest of the rare case. They told that Mahinder Singh, he will not be the gravest threat to the society. A week later, a similar case was discussed by the same bench of judges, that was Justice Satsivam, and along with him, it was Justice Jagdish Keher. And the case was, an individual had kidnapped a male child which was 7 years old, and they have killed him. After hearing to this case, the judges said that this was the rarest of the rarest case. They said, or they imposed that, just think of the plight of the family who had lost their only male child who could have taken their legacy forward. So we can see our legal system or our judges can also be sometimes patriarchal. So we cannot say that we are, means at this time, after hearing these many cases and after seeing these many cases, the accused himself can also ask the question that my life and my death, is it in the hands of the judges who can sometimes be biased, or it is on the mindsets or the benches which can be constituted from time to time? When we say of death penalties, I think the 75 means it is actually the statistics that 75% of the death penalties given in the countries, not only ours, but also in USA or any other countries who have not abolished the death penalties, they are given to the poor and marginalized people. I cannot say 100%, but 75% is also not a less number we can say here. we say that death penalty is given to the harsh crimes, or it can the crimes which are very much rigorous and which cannot be means we cannot give other punishments to them. It is a way of seen a way of justice to give to the people. But according to a report which was published by Market Law in 2012, it is said that the victim or victim's family, it will be more satisfied, or justice will be given to them when the person is given a life imprisonment or a kind of a punishment wherein they will realize every day that what wrong I have done. Okay, what wrong they have done and what actually this family is suffering because of them. Now, as my opponent said, that according retribution is one of the things, or the fear, the terrorist, the as we she said that 2611 was an attack. But once think, when the terrorists are given the training, when they are on the ground, as soon as they start the mission or be at the training center itself, they know they are going to lose their life. And after they have been completed their mission, there is no use of just letting them set free, we can say, because the death will be like, I'm free from my life, my mission is being completed. But instead of them, if we give them the life imprisonment, and every day if they are kept in the jail and they are made to think that what wrong I have done, our country is like, we believe in peace, we believe in forgiveness, so we will get nothing by retributing or giving the capital punishment or taking away someone's life. But we can, some of the people can be rehabilitated by this. So I think that capital punishment is having so many cons. So we should think once again that our country should once again think that can we abolish this punishment. Thank you.
Thank you, 7B. 3A. Now you'll get 2 minutes for rebuttal. We'll go at 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so good morning everyone again. As my opponent said, I would like to rebut some of the points, but first of all, I clarify that this debate was whether, death penalty is beneficial or not. But what I received as arguments from the opposition, with all due respect, were, the cons that weren't even related to the same. Now, I would, start with some of the points that the opposition mentioned. Firstly, ma'am started with an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind, and we believe in non-violence. But the argument that we believe in forgiveness, we believe in non-violence, completely destroys. You have to understand that it completely destroys the very concept of providing sanctions or punishment in criminal law, isn't it? Like life imprisonment also takes away the person's liberty. It is not just a death sentence, and the state is in a complete authority to take away people's life or people's liberty, for the very fact that you cannot argue that they have article 21 or something, because article 14 provides that equal protection of law to equal people, and the convicts and free people like us are not at equal positions. This might sound harsh, but that is exactly the truth, and that is what the substantive law says. And nextly, is it a legal way? She asked the question. Ma'am, it is a legal way. Of course, I'd like to answer because of the reasons that I just provided, that state at the complete authority to take away people's lives or take away people's liberty. Now, the question that does it really deter crime, I've already answered that in the 5 minutes of my speech earlier. The fact that it even does deters crime has been upheld in Jagmohan Singh case, because fear of death has been considered to be a really proper deterrence by the judge himself. And if death penalty is abolished in the nations, you have to look that death penalty is abolished in the nations where population is less. But in nations like China, USA, India, Indonesia, where population is high, and people are from the marginalized society, they do commit crimes, and that is why death penalty cannot be abolished. And you said the con is that just 10 more seconds, the death penalty is provided to poor and marginalized people. But the poor and marginalized people, because of the theories of criminology and deviant behavior theories, they do commit crimes. So why won't they be provided with punishments accordingly? So I believe I've answered all of your questions and rebutted all of your points, what I believe is effectively. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you again.
Thank you so much, 3A and 7B. We are done with the debate. You'll be instructed about the instructions later on. And thank you so much. You can leave the room now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just one question. Will we receive any feedback from the judges?
I guess that is going to be done afterwards in the judges' feedback section.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, judges. I am Isha Karni. I am a student coordinator. I have a few announcements. I will be making the announcements once the participants leave. Please give me an indication, Manasvi and Asta, once the participants are out of the team meeting.
The other participants are out, but somebody let 1B and 13A in. So we weren't supposed to do that, whoever did that. Kyuki Isha was supposed to make an announcement. So
Yes,
if 1B and 13A,
please
yeah. So should I remove them and ask them to join
Please,
again?
could you remove them for 2 minutes? I have an announcement from the management.
Okay. Sorry, 1B and 13A. We'll have to join you again.
We would be admitting you again shortly.
Yeah.
Are the participants out of the meeting?
Just.
Yes, I have an announcement to make. Judges, participant code 5B was having some genuine technical issues because of which the participant could not come forward and speak and present his debate. The other participant, his spoken in front of you all, and we request you all to please give participant 5B another chance because it was a genuine reason and we have looked into it. Usually we do not admit this, and the rules say that if there is a technical glitch and we have been made to wait for more than 4 to 5 minutes, the participant would be disqualified. But after thorough research, we have come to the conclusion that it was a genuine reason, and we request you judges to please admit participant 5B if that's possible.
Risha, it is possible, but again we have to give chance to participant 9A who was against this 5B because the 9A couldn't complete her rebuttal thing. So she needs to give a chance to refute again.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, I
Isn't
will
it?
do one thing. I will cross-check from the management once again whether 9A would be permitted again. And
Because 9A
if
for
we get a thumbs
9A
up from there,
for 9A when we gave marks, we haven't given for rebuttal, right, ma'am? Shweta ma'am.
I have given tentatively because we didn't have any option, so I concluded from her speech only. Whatever.
Okay, but I haven't given any mark for the rebuttal because she was not given any chance to refute
No.
rather.
yes, ma'am.
So are
Yes,
we
ma'am. I
giving the
will do
chance for
one thing.
her to?
Ma'am, I understand your point. Ma'am, if you could just give me 1 minute, I would cross-check from the management because I am not authorized to take decisions offhand.
Sure. So after completing this
Give me 1
current,
minute. I will be back immediately, ma'am.
so after completing this pair, we can resume back for 5A or whatever the number.
And 9A if permitted. Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. We
Okay.
can do that.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, you can
So let's
go ahead with the next pair, and I would put the instructions on the coordinators group. I request Astha and Manasvi to please keep an eye on the instructions that are put up on the group.
Yeah, sure,
And
sure.
inform the judges accordingly. Ma'am, is that okay?
yes,
Astha and Manasvi would coordinate, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, sure. We'll do that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for understanding, ma'am. Thank you.
Isha? Isha?
Yes, Manasvi.
Isha, the participants will get the feedback afterwards, right?
Yes, they would be given the feedback after. They may be given the feedback afterwards, and uh, please inform them that it take 1 to 3 business days.
Okay, okay.
And they may also get a chance to interact with the judges after the completion of the finals. But it all depends on the time that we have in hand.
Yes, sure, sure.
Okay, thank you. Please, ma'am, you can proceed with the next pair, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, so next pair is 13A and 1B. Do we have you guys here in the meeting?
Yes, I'm there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So the motion for the debate remains the same, and 13A you'll be speaking for the motion, and 1B you'll be speaking against the motion. Like the one speaking for the motion, it is 13A. You'll be speaking 5 minutes first, and then I'll show you plug card like this at the start, and at the 4th minute, I'll tell you that it's 1 minute left, and at the end, I'll tell you to stop. And make sure that you complete within the time, because exceeding might get you negative points. Then afterwards, 1B, you'll be speaking for 7 minutes, including the rebuttal, and the timing procedure remains the same, start, then at the 6th minute, 1 minute left, wala instruction, and then end. After that, again 13A, sorry, you'll be getting 2 minutes for the rebuttal, and I'll do start and stop, no 1 minute plug card. Am I clear about the instructions?
Yes.
Yes, you're clear.
Okay, so judges, may I have your permission to start the debate?
Yes.
Okay. Participants, all the very best. 13A, are we good to go?
Yes, we are. Should I turn on my camera?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible and visible both. Yes. So we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. Start.
Okay. Good morning to everyone present here. My team code is 13A, and today I'm going to argue on behalf of why capital punishment is a boon. In India, capital punishment is provided for the most heinous crime, and that too in rarest of rare cases. In a poll conducted by local circles in 2018, it showed that 76% of Indians were in favor of capital punishment being given to those who have committed heinous crimes. The wider Indian society demands that capital punishment should be given to people who have committed heinous crimes. When we give capital punishment to people who have committed these crimes, we provide a closure to the victims and their families. They feel that justice has been served, and rightfully so. According to Immanuel Kant in his book Metaphysics of Morals, principle of equality dictates that the person who has committed a crime must suffer a punishment equal to the suffering endured by the victim. When someone commits a heinous crime, it is imperative for the sake of justice that he must be given death sentence, because there is no other crime, there is no other punishment that can even come close to being equal to the suffering endured by the victim. According to Durkheim, a society operates on a set of collective conscience. These are rules which every individual must follow. And when someone breaks these rules and commits a heinous crime, let's say, that person must be punished, because it ensures that in future no one else might commit that same crime. This way, capital punishment can be used to prevent future commission of these heinous crimes. In cases of terrorism, mutiny, waging a war against the state, the security of our nation is at stake. When we give death penalty in these cases, not only do we send a message that any attempt at the sovereignty and security of India, or any attempt at jeopardizing the security of India will not be tolerated, but also we ensure that we preserve our nation's security. Now you might ask, how do we preserve our nation's security? Let me explain. Let's say instead of hanging a terrorist, we put him in police custody. Now tomorrow, the organization that the terrorist belongs to might hijack a plane or take some citizens as hostage and say that we release that terrorist. Giving death sentence mitigates occurrence of these events. Now, what is alternative to capital punishment? Life imprisonment? Should the tax money collected from our pockets be used to house, clothe, and feed these criminals? Should the tax money collected from our pockets be used to house, clothe, and feed terrorists who have committed these heinous crimes? Should the tax money collected from the victims and their families be used to house, clothe, and feed these criminals who have committed heinous crimes? Practically speaking, capital punishment is just a better use of our tax funds. Now, the opponents of capital punishment might say that capital punishment is quite arbitrary and there is a possibility that an innocent person might be killed. This proposition is beyond the purview of reality. In India, in the last 20 years, 8 executions have been given. Out of these 8, 4 were given in Nirbaya's case, 3 were involved in terrorist attack, and 1 had raped and kidnapped and murdered a 15-year-old girl. No innocent person has ever been executed in modern times. In India, capital punishment is given for rarest of rare offenses. The entire judicial system is based on the notion that if 100 guilty people are acquitted, it's okay, but not a single innocent person should ever be convicted. We have a very long appeals process where benefit of the doubt is given to the accused at every step of the way.
1
A
minute
forensic
left.
technology, a forensic technology has progressed to a point where it has become virtually impossible to ever impugn an innocent individual. In conclusion, capital punishment provides a lot of utility to our society. It provides closure to the victims and their families. It prevents future occurrence of heinous crimes. And it preserves our nation's security. And it does all of this without being either arbitrary or costing too much money. Thank you.
Thank you, 13A. 1B, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so just a minute, yeah. So we'll go in 3, 2, 1, start.
Honorable judges, this is Team Code 1B and I'm here to speak against the motion. Capital punishment is the state-sanctioned killing of a person as a punishment for a crime. Capital punishment, while pretending to support reverence for human life, does in fact tend to destroy it. It is morally excluded. 107 countries have completely abolished it for any crime. Under CRPC 1898, death sentence was a rule and life imprisonment was an exception. But now it's the opposite. The UN introduced during a General Assembly calling for a universal ban of the death penalty. These facts are enough proof that society can control criminal activity even without resorting to this extreme type of punishment, which is the worst violation of human rights, the right to life. In the beginning of death penalty was an effort to placate the gods, and completely blotting out the culprit was a way to demonstrate a group's disapproval towards the antisocial conduct. But shouldn't we hate the crime and not the criminal? From a moral aspect, none of the various methods used in executing the criminals is free from pain or torture. The mental torture experienced by the condemned man waiting in the death house for reprieve, which is generally granted very late. The poignant suffering experienced by the family and the friends of those to be executed is depressing. The infamy connected with the execution can never be eradicated from the memory of the victims. Death penalty does not deter people from committing crimes. It's a hollow claim. It does not serve the purposes that its advocates claim it does. There are innumerable studies, including in India, the National Law University under the Death Penalty Project demonstrate no deterrence. If you take the 3 decades from 1980 onwards, 80 to 90, there were 10 executions. Murders went up dramatically. 90 to 2000, there were 8 executions. Murders went up again. 2000 to 2010, there was only 1 execution and murders went down. To really have a deterring influence, to bring about a sense of fear amongst the people, we should make a great public spectacle out of it and make it in the most brutal circumstances possible. But it's done in discretion. There is a lot of arbitrariness and subjectivity to this whole process. Rarest of the rare, which means that each judge can decide what is rare to him. The jurisprudence is far from consistent. And you can find that an overwhelming amount of people that have been executed since independence have had poor legal representation. They are poor and belong to the marginalized backgrounds. Innocent people could be killed and those who are economically and politically stronger, they could escape. When you get down to it, you realize that it's actually an emotional judgment. You decide to execute somebody because they participated in the killing. In other words, the state is being reduced to the level of terrorist or the killer that it is trying to punish. You're going eye for an eye, which Mahatma Gandhi clearly says it will leave the whole world blind. The state must not get this much power. Mahatma Gandhi considers this as a wrong form of punishment because he tells that once you get to know that the person is innocent, there is no going back. It is irreversible. The person is dead. The matter is closed. Even APJ Abdul Kalam was always against this having a provision in the statute book. And the record shows very clearly that when he was the president, how he handled all the death penalty pardons that he got. Death penalty is backward. If you're really talking punishments, then death penalty does nothing to the person. He learns nothing out of it. Every time a death penalty is executed, a fruitless exercise is committed. There is no doubt that the awful, bizarre incidents of terror will continue over the world, irrespective of whether a person is hanged there or is hanged here. Executing individuals, howsoever complicit the terror which he would have committed, is not going to stop the terror. What will stop it is the determined efforts of all the governments to see where the terror comes from, to see how and when and why it emanates, and go after those causes of terror and meet the fundamentals of investigation, and not find a shorthand script to end the particular case and just to satisfy the bloodlust of the people. The death penalty is far expensive than any other alternate punishments because of the increased costs of investigation, prosecution, jury selection, appeal, etc. The US spends 20 million for a death penalty, and wrongful capital prosecutions are costing state and local hundreds of millions of dollars. What about mental issues? How many criminals do what they do consciously and malevolently that they deserve to be killed? Barely. One commits a crime because he suffers from that disease, and like any other disease, it needs to be cured. Effects on the jurors. They have to make some hard decisions. You don't want to start a day as a juror and you walk away as a murderer. They are traumatized by such cases. They need counseling, but do we have that in our system? No. Everybody deserves a second chance. If I were in that position, the least I'd expect is a second chance for myself to prove to my friends and my family. In Kenya, when a person was accused and he was forgiven by reducing the death penalty, he went on to become a lawyer because he wanted to change the judicial system. From a death penalty, he became an asset to his country. It's about forgiveness. Just look at us. We are experimenting with ways to inflict a less painful execution. We are hanging sacks of handbags to see how much length of the rope should be so that he will be dislocate the neck and he'll die instantly. Is is this where humanity is heading towards? There are so many alternatives to capital punishment. Life without parole is sufficient. With efforts, anybody can be rehabilitated back to the society. We must attack the root cause of why the crimes happen in the first place and not take an action after it's too late. We can start by educating, implementing moral values in the youth, and make prisons a safe environment. We must aim at making a man worthy of living in a society. We must have an unending optimism for people. We should know better than to just give up on someone. As humans, I'm sure we should be striving to do better. After assessing all my arguments, yes, I believe that capital punishment is indeed a bane. Thank you.
Thank you, 1B. Now 13A, you'll be getting 2 minutes for rebuttal. Okay, so are you ready?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, start.
The crux of my opponent's position and their argument against death penalty is that it's immoral, it's arbitrary, that there is a possibility that someone might be reformed, or that someone might get a second chance, and that there is a possibility an innocent person might be killed. Let's start with arbitrariness and innocent person being killed. We'll come back to morality later. As stated previously, our system is built on the premise that 100 guilty people are acquitted. It's okay, but not a single innocent person should be convicted. The last 20 years, who have we hung? Terrorists, rapists, and murderers. There is no single individual who was innocent and has been hung by India. Now, when it comes to arbitrariness, and that there is a system of, let's say there are people who are rich who might get better legal representation, and people who are poor might not get as better representation. Let's say tomorrow, our society changes, our entire system changes, and we are very on equal plane. There is no arbitrariness. Will my opponent will still be in favor of abolishing death penalty? Still say that death penalty is a bane? Their problem is with everything surrounding death penalty, not with death penalty in of itself. Their problem with death penalty is that it's immoral. Let's talk about morality. What is morality? Morality is highly subjective. My friend here has stated that Gandhiji was opposed to death penalty, but there were plenty of freedom fighters who were in favor of death penalty. Immanuel Kant, a moral philosopher, is in favor of death penalty. Now let's look at the utility it provides. Legislating the morality of it has no point. The utility that it provides is that it provides satisfaction to the victims and their families. It prevents future occurrence of heinous crimes, and it prevents a future occurrence of terrorism. With this, I would like to conclude my rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, 1B and 13A. We are done with your debate and you'll instructed about the other things later on. So you can leave the group now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Asta, do we have to take 5B again, then 5B and 9A?
Yeah. Isha asked me to take 5B and 9A again, but I don't know yours.
Your voice is breaking.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, only 5B is join. Never 9.
Yeah, you are not
Then
audible.
let her rebut if she joins. Here in the
Asta, you aren't audible properly. Your voice is breaking.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah, go ahead.
5 is here. I'll let them join. 9A is not here. So let's let 5B complete with their speech because 9A only has to read. Right. So I'm letting 5B in. Let's give them a chance. Okay.
Okay, so 5B will speak for 7 minutes, right? Yeah.
I'll let them in. Let's ask 9A. Just wait for a second. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, she is 7A. You'll have to join later because we're having another participant. So we'll add you in later. Your name. She's not 9A, she's 7A. Participant 5B will have to enter you later because your opponent isn't here and the other teams are waiting. So you'll get a chance later for sure. But for now, we're gonna have to proceed with the other teams. When 9A comes, we'll give you a shot.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So you can leave the meeting.
Okay, so should we proceed with 7A and 6B if they are here?
7A and 6B, I guess 6B is here, 7A is not. So we'll proceed with 12A and 8B because they are here. 6B will let you in later when 7A is here. Please be in the lobby.
Okay, so 12A and 8B, are you here with us?
Oh, I entered 12A, I guess. Just a second. Okay, 8B is here. I don't see 12A now. Oh, 7A is Sumedha Joshi. She is here. 7A and 6B, right? Just a second. The thing is, 7A is here, but 6B is not. 8B is here, but 12A is not. So what am I supposed to do? Only one of the members from the teams is here. I'll get back to you on this. Just wait a second. I'm so sorry for this.
Hi, I'm the team coordinator for 12A. He just told me that he'll join very soon. His call got disconnected.
Okay, I'll let him in. Please ask him to join as soon as he can.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I've let 8B join for the moment, and as soon as 12A comes, we'll proceed. 7A and 6B are nowhere to be seen.
B is in the meeting.
Yeah. I just saw. Let me enter 7A then.
Yeah.
Okay. 7A
Actually,
and
7A has a problem.
Yeah, I got that information. Thank you, Soumya. So both 7A and 6B are here. Let's proceed.
Okay. So 7A and 6B, you're able to hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so 7A will be speaking for the motion and 6B will be speaking against the motion. I repeat, 7A for the motion and 6B against the motion. So first 7A will be speaking for the motion for 5 minutes and I will show you placards like this, like at the start, and when there's 1 minute left and at the end, and you need to stop at the end, because if you exit then that would lead to a minus point. Then 6B, you'll be speaking for 7 minutes and the timing thing would be the same. At the start, when I'll show another placard where there's 1 minute, and then at the end. Then we'll again go to 7A, and 7A will speak for 2 minutes, then rebuttal round, and there will be a start and stop placards, not that 1 minute left wala. So am I clear with the instructions so far?
Okay. Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So 7A, are you ready? Judges, may I have your permission to start the debate? Okay. Yeah, so 7A, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll go in 3, 2, 1, start.
Good morning. Myself 07A, and today's my topic is capital punishment. First of all, I pay my tribute to let Gopal Ganesh Agarkar and start my debate. Today's topic is capital punishment, also called as death penalty. So what do you understand from capital punishment? A punishment which is given to the cruel, the criminals and the murderers who have done the cases like murders, rape, and many more. I support capital punishment, but some seems to argue with me for the contrary because they believe that eye for an eye can make the whole world blind. Some orthodox people give religion as a reason to reject capital punishment. However, they believe that taking life of people is against the values and sentiments of religion. However, religion also support capital punishment. In Islamic countries, where they process and practice a Sharia law, very strictly are associated with capital punishment as the retribution for the largest variety of crimes. The Bible in Genesis 9.6 also counts, whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. Capital punishment is often defended on the ground that society has a moral obligation to protect the safety and welfare of citizens. But murderers threaten this safety and welfare. Only by putting murderers to death can ensure that convicted killers do not kill again. Some view should be keep in mind. What if keeping a person alive can cause more deaths? Yes, keeping Maulana Masood Akhtar and Sheikh Umar in jail caused Kandahar airline hijack and may even contributed in 9/11 mass murders at Twin Towers. When keeping these deadly killers alive, tempt to comparions their induce to kill more peoples. Can their prioritizing their right to live is justified? Is this necessary? Regardlessly, my other opposers of capital punishment are induced throughout the country. But the case of Yaqub Kasab and Yaqub Memon are sparkled this prevalent debate. I just want to make you sure for more things like facilities we are giving to the prisoners, the criminals, the murderers, the heinous criminals in jail. Yes, I'm not talking about the punishment. I'm talking about the facilities we are giving, the VIP facilities we are giving. For example, Mukhtar Ansari. Yes, Mukhtar Ansari is a criminal who have done 57 murder cases from UP. and he is getting facilities like private lake in jail. Yes, he is having a private lake in jail because he needs a fresh fish every morning in breakfast. He has a special darbar. He won election by bullying peoples. Every evening at 5, collector comes to play badminton with him. Every night he goes out to meet his family. Is this right? He is getting a punishment? No, he's not getting a punishment. He's getting the VIP facilities. And why we are giving? Because he has fund, because he has election support, he has money.
1 minute left.
Don't we have law? It is better to give if it is better to get something good. Giving punishment to this heinous criminals, because not giving punishment can encourage them, and they will take judicial system for granted. And I just want to point one more thing, that our just Indian law system have given a lot of time for giving punishment, and this time this claim for this justification, and this is already a leeway for the criminals, so it should be less, and everyone should get punishment, the same magnitude of punishment they are doing the crime. And I support capital punishment because I don't want. Thank you.
Yeah, so now 6B.
I just wanted to ask if I'm visible because I cannot see my own video, but it shows that the camera is on.
Actually, I'm not able to see you. Anyone else in the room is able to see her? No, 6B, we aren't able to see you.
Alright, just a moment, because I've been trying since the opponent was speaking and it is not showing the camera. It shows that it is on though.
Try rejoining if it isn't working.
Okay. Am I finally visible?
No, no, you're not.
Is it showing entirely black, or even that is not visible? Because for me it is showing an entirely black background.
Try and join from any other device, because this is even not sounding properly.
Oh, okay. Another device. Another device will take at least 5 to 10 minutes at the minimum.
Asta, can you give the instruction to the Manasvi? You can also, can you give the instruction to the participants in the very start to arrange and test their devices? Because if
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We'll have to do that. Thank you.
Hi, this is the team coordinator for 6B. She is rejoining. She's trying to refresh her team, so it will take another 2 minutes. Please.
Okay, then I guess we could wait for 2 minutes. Please ask her to join us as soon as she can.
Asta Ronak this side.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, Rona?
Asta.
Yeah.
When we go to the next participant, you can take 12A versus 8B, which is the next
Yeah.
participant, next slot, and then we'll go for 7A versus 6B. Okay.
But 12A isn't here now.
They aren't in the lobby or what?
Yeah, they aren't.
He's
Okay.
facing some
So let's
problems.
wait
Gonna
for
be there.
So let's wait for 2 minutes for 6B. I'll also confirm about 6B and 12A. I'll confirm for both and tell you.
Ma'am, you're not audible.
let us wait because again the 7A has to refute on the arguments of 6B.
Yes,
so if
ma'am.
we
Yes,
take
ma'am.
somebody
Totally.
else in between, that will be a little tricky to the participant.
Yes, ma'am. Fair enough. Thank you.
Ma'am, we are very sorry for the inconvenience.
Hello, judges. She had some problem in her phone, like laptop, so she's joining through mobile phone. Just given another 1 minute. So sorry for the inconvenience.
Manasvi, I got word from the seniors. They're saying ki, if she doesn't join and within the next 2 minutes, then we'll have to take their entire debate, that is 7A versus 6B again, because the other people are waiting and all of our debates are getting postponed. And obviously, our judges also don't have time to spare. So we'll have to proceed thoda sa faster. So if she is not able to join, we'll take the entire debate again, because the other participants are in the lobby and we have to enter them as well. We have to allow them to join as well.
Yeah, yes, I understand. Her coordinator just called me and she said that she'll be joining in a minute or two. And if she doesn't, then we'll for sure proceed with the next participants.
Yeah.
Asta, but I don't see 12A in the lobby along with 8B. So
4A and 15B are here. So 4A and 15B will proceed. Then when 12A comes, we'll look into the matter then.
okay. Fine.
Hi, this is the team coordinator. I'm so sorry for the delay. So 6B is just signing into her account from her phone. So it'll just be another minute. I'm very sorry for the delay. Just another minute.
We'll take her debate after this. And Sumedha, you can leave the meeting. We'll enter you again. Please wait in the lobby because now we'll take the debate of 15B versus 4A. We'll take their entire debate later. Yeah,
Can I
Sumedha, go
know
ahead.
how much time it will take?
It shouldn't
How
take
much?
more than, see, this debate will take 15 minutes, 15B versus 4A. And let's take around about 20 minutes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so 4A, I can see you. 15B, are you here? Team 15B, are you here? B, if you're here, please unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. I'm sorry for the delay.
Yeah, could you please turn on your camera? Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll begin with 4 and 15B then. The motion remains the same, and 4A you'll be speaking for the motion, and 15B you'll be speaking against the motion. I'll repeat, 4A for the motion and 15B against the motion. 4A you'll be speaking first for 5 minutes, and I'll be showing you placards like this for start, and when there is 1 minute left I'll notify you that there is 1 minute left, and try to wrap up in the minute, and at the end I'll show you a pluck card of stop, and then you need to stop. Then 15B you'll be speaking for 7 minutes, and the placard thing will go similarly, and then again 4A you'll go for rebuttal for 2 minutes. Am I clear with the instructions?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, then judges, may I have your permission to start with the debate? Yeah, so we'll begin. 4A, are you ready?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Am
you're
I
audible.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
May I
okay.
start?
So
May I
we'll
start?
okay. So we'll go in 3, 2, 1, start.
Good afternoon, everybody present here. I, the member of 4 TC 4A, would hereby like to draw the attention of honorable judges, all the audiences, and my fellow learned competitors. Thereby, I stand before you to discuss the topic capital punishment, a bane, a boon, and I speak for the motion. From the side of my personal view, capital punishment is neither a bane nor a boon. In its actuality, it bridges the gap between bane and boon. Whenever the topic capital punishment arises, simultaneously there also arises many questions, and such questions are: if anyone murders someone, don't he lose the right to stay alive? Secondly, people know they might be executed for committing a crime, aren't they less likely to do it? Capital punishment, which is popularly known as death penalty, is the highest degree of punishment given by the courts of the country to an individual or individuals in the case of committing heinous crimes and barbaric activities. Undoubtedly, capital punishment is the necessity of the society for maintaining peace and security of the country from the ones who commit capital offences. The Indian Penal Code 1860 also upholds and awards death penalty as a punishment for capital offences, and such punishments are for criminal conspiracy under Section 120B, murder under Section 302, waging war against government under Section 121, and many other, which also includes NDPS Acts and anti-terrorism laws. Capital punishment in its true sense cannot be considered an absolute boon, and at the same time, it can never be considered an absolute pain, because capital punishment is the necessity of the society and the duty of the judicial system in order to maintain peace, security, and humanity in the social life. It is also very much necessary that the justice delivery mechanism of the country should scrutinize properly all the facts, figures, and evidences, and also to provide equal opportunity to the accused in their defense. The Indian judiciary have always played a crucial role in delivering justice to the society, and many times it has proved by its judgment that capital punishment is a boon to the society, and such judgment is Jagmohan versus State of UP. In this case, the Supreme Court of India held that Article 14, 19, and 21 did not violate the death penalty. The decision was therefore awarded as per the procedure laid down by the law under Article 21. The concept of capital punishment is not the today's invention. Rather, it is practiced in the Indian society since the time immemorial. Law originates from the society itself, and the society from the long time admiring the concept of capital punishment. Therefore, capital punishment cannot be considered vengeance, rather it is in its pragmatic sense is the need of an hour, which will set an example of truth and justice in the society, and that example will debar many criminals from committing any heinous crime, which in a long run will act as a deterrent. I understand that the learned opposition would argue taking the so-called human right as the shield, but I would like to clear it out that the so-called human rights are not applicable to those whose activities are against the humanity, and those activities can also endanger human civilization. India, in its true sense, is a holy land of many pure souls from ages. Thereby, this holy land always stood for truth and justice in the society and also take a firm stand against the evil and practice of cruelty. Therefore, India denied all the deadliest form of execution and warmly welcomed hanging under Section 354, subsection 5 of the CRPC, and shooting under Army Act 1950 as a method of execution. In India, there are 752 individuals that had been executed since 1947 under capital punishment, as per the record published by National Law University, Delhi. There are many landmark cases related to capital punishment, and many among few are Bachchan Singh versus State of Punjab. In this case, the Supreme Court of India ruled that capital punishment should be awarded only in the case of rarest of rare crime, and now it become a core criteria for delivering the judgment of capital punishment. The Supreme Court of India also held in the case of Bachchan Singh versus State of Punjab. In its judgment, it is said that life imprisonment is the rule and death penalty is an exception. In other words, death penalty must be imposed only when life imprisonment uh, appears to be inadequate punishment having regard to the relevant circumstances of the crime. So after a long discussion, I would like to conclude that capital punishment is the necessity of the society, because I firmly believe that to wipe out crime from this world, it is very necessary to wipe out the criminals first. Therefore, I also strongly believe that law should be very strict and robust in nature, depending on the severity of the crime, which will create a fear in the mind of the criminals and will restrict them from committing any heinous crime further. Thank you.
Thank you, 4A. Now we'll proceed with 15B. Are you ready, 15B?
Yes.
Okay.
Shall I begin?
Yeah. You'll go in 3, 2, 1, start.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is TC15 and I'm against the motion. I'll start. So the India being the most well-drafted, very nicely drafted, well-drafted and amazingly beautifully drafted the constitution, and is one of the biggest, largest democracy in the world. And apart from being the major player in the world, now India has also been the most amazing player in the world. Now, when we look at the picture, India has, however, not recognized the capital punishment in its flaw, because capital punishment is just a heinous punishment. It should not be included, and I'm against it. I think it should be abolished. So I firmly believe that punishment have certain objectives. So let's say, for example, it should be deterrent. Therefore, there should be self improvement, there should be self awareness, but there is nothing when we take a look at capital punishment. I can say that with certain proof that if we see the last 3 decades, there have been no effect of the capital punishment. There is no deterrent in there. So let's say from 1980 to 1990, there have been many executions, but the crime rate has still risen. Similar was the picture in 1990 to 2000. But when we look at 2000 to 2010, the crime rate had fallen, but the execution were also less. So this shows a complete opposite picture to what the stats is. Now, while we look at this, we see that the crime rate has fallen because of rise not because of death penalty. Apart from this, there is a lot of arbitration and mediation, and also there is no subjectivity in the execution. For example, rarest of rare crime is not defined anywhere. It depends upon judge to judge. So he can make the judgment if he feels that the crime falls under rarest of rare crime, he can pass the judgment of death penalty. Otherwise, he can't. So there are many judges that feel that they should give it, and others are there that they do not feel so. And there have been a case where, see, we must agree that even the judges are human and they do make mistakes. So there have been a judgment wherein Ravji was being sentenced to death, and later on Supreme Court found out that he was not guilty, he was innocent. And now what should we do? We can't bring back that person to life. Death, you have already been sentenced a death sentence. Now how will you bring him to life? So there's this question, and Gandhiji rightly pointed out, he had gone on record and said that he is completely against death penalty. The reason being that if you give this death penalty, it is irreversible. You can't bring the person back if he's found innocent or if he is not found guilty. So what will you do here? Secondly, there have been many cases, 2/3 as per the record, that the people who cannot afford legal representations have been sentenced as death penalty. So what about this? Thirdly, furthermore, if we go ahead, this is just an emotional approach towards law and not a practical approach. It is like saying, just because you kill someone, I will also kill someone. It is falling down to their level, and the state becomes the murderer here. So what about that? Apart from that, there is also delay in passing of judgment. There is the rarest of rare crime is not defined anywhere. Now I would like to address what my friend said. I would like to rebut that. So he said that humanity. Where is the humanity here? You can't find humanity here. You are killing a person, and in support, when you are put into the jail, you are supposed to give a you are supposed to give a rehabilitation to that person. You are supposed to make him realize his mistake. You're supposed to let him give an opportunity to make him realize his mistake, but you are taking away that right from him. And also deterrent. Where is the effect over here? There is no effect, as I have shown there. And what about the irreversibility? There is no, you cannot take that back. So how will you define this? And rarest of rare, where is that defined? It depends upon judge to judge. So how will you answer to this?
He has 2 minutes for rebuttal later, so he'll rebut you then. You please continue with your speech because you're wasting your time if you wait for him now.
You're on mute, 15B. You're on mute.
Unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are. Go ahead.
So that is the only thing I have, that where is the deterrent effect, where is the rarest of rare. And in this situation, the only thing I remember is an eye for an eye does make the whole world blind. So that's it. And I would want to question this to the fellow colleague, that how will he respond to this? Thank you.
Thank you, 15B. 4A, now you will be getting 2 minutes for the rebuttal. Are we ready? Are you ready?
Yes, it's fine. Okay. In response to my learned friend sitting in opposition.
4A, just a minute. You'll go in 3, 2, and 1. Start.
Right, thank you. In response to my learned friend sitting in opposition, I would like to say that capital punishment never infringes or takes away any fundamental right of any citizen, because whoever commit capital offense are considered to be terrorists, because their activities might have terrorized many common citizens. Moreover, right to life under Article 21 is not applicable to any terrorist of the world, because terrorists neither belong to any country nor to any religion. They are having biological human traits and no human feeling. I would also like to add that in the present world, there is a drastic change required in the law of capital punishment, because whereby it is observed since the judgment of capital punishment revolves around the concept of rarest of rare crime. But I want to ask you that if the crime which is considered to be rarest of rare crime today can become a common or routine crime tomorrow, then where is that the legality? Therefore, it is really challenging for the law and the justice delivery mechanism of the country to maintain social justice, equality, and balance in the society. Which, if the gap is not cemented, and one more thing, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, he said that I cannot in all conscience agree to anyone being sent to gallows. God alone can take life because God alone gives it. This word clearly defines that the Gandhiji was against the capital punishment. If it is true, then why Nathuram Godse, the assassin of Mahatma Gandhi, was sentenced to death penalty? It was done because law originates and revolves from the society, and the society clearly demands the execution of death penalty. Therefore, the society demands the continuation of capital punishment, and the society truly needs it. Thank you.
Thank you, 4A. 4A and 15B, we are done with your debates. You can leave the room now. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, judges. The teams who were supposed to debate before the break, somehow or the other they weren't here. So we'll have to take their debates after the lunch break. And now we have a lunch break till 1:30. So I request you all to join at 1:30 and take a break. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, everyone.